Fire Emblem goes well. That's actually going to be one of our main topics once Justin actually starts the show.
But yeah, I mean, it's just like, you know, Star-Lord in Endgame. I was like, it just happens all the time. Like, you missed the first shot. She got the both on the second time.
Where are we?
I don't know. That's how I play Sniper Elite. Like, I keep going for a nut shot. I end up hitting them in the leg, and I go again, and I like both of them.
Justin, please start the show.
Talking about shooting Nazi balls.
And yeah, Blue House, Eagles of so Lions, Blue House. Okay,
wow, Blue House.
We are all Eagles at this place.
Get out of here.
This is an Eagles club. Thank you very much.
I accept.
My wife is going Blue Lions whenever she finishes Dungeon Keeper 2.
I mean, Golden Stag though. I mean, what up, y'all? I will flirt with any one of you. The Baratheons, yes.
Okay. Do I need to start the show?
Yeah, probably. Welcome all to the Catch-All Gaming Podcast. This is a very depleted episode, as I am just a husk of a man today. I'm your host, Justin, and along with me is Josh.
Oh, hi there. Sorry, I was just called Basic in chat for my love of the Black Eagles, and I personally prefer the triangle of Fire Emblem, where it's Black Eagles is murder, Blue Lions is cops, Golden Deer are horny.
They are, but all I gotta say about Black Eagles, Petra. So all your other houses just get out.
Petra is best.
Petra is best person.
So yeah, but yeah, no, we're doing a show. I have no idea how much of the pre-show is going to make it into the edit, or if I will just have that as a video for like a little side video or not. But
who knows? We'll find out. But yeah, I mean, we're talking Fire Emblem already, so we might as well get into what game you play. And that is going to be the name of this thing.
What game you play?
What game you play?
What game I play? Well, I mean, we're already talking Fire Emblem, so let's just keep that going. And Lord of Palms is agreeing that Petra is best girl.
So is
Petra is. We talked about this. Justin and I kept talking after last night's Calibrating podcast. We ended up staying on after, and just the two of us chatting, just off camera and everything. The plan was just to talk about some plans for PAX West. Ended up, I think, doing like a 5-minute mini podcast on Fire Emblem because I can't stop talking about the game, and it was mostly devoted to Petra as an assassin. That kind of whole thing. So
I don't want a masterclass her, dude. I really. I mean, I am, because you can move it back. It's fine, but
I might masterclass. I might look through what the bonuses you get for certain masterclasses and bounce her back. But as an assassin, I literally just So I want to talk about actually, I'll get to the story in a second. Let me ask you the question, Justin. Last week, you were, I believe, 15 to 20 hours-ish in, if I remember right?
I think I was, I think 15, 20 hours-ish.
You were in the 15, 20 hour range, what, chapter 4-ish, I want to say?
Yeah, chapter 4.
And I was 20, well, here's the fun thing. I thought I was 20 hours to 25 hours, and turns out I was 30 hours, and that lost so badly track of time. I'm now like chapter 13 or 14. I am just under 60 hours into this game. Again, if anyone remembers, I've talked about this last week. Previously, my previous Fire Emblem experiences were over the span of 1 month. I would play about 25 hours of the game. Again, the game has been out for less than 2 weeks, and I'm 60 hours in. I'm having legitimately having trouble. I have to do a review of Church in the Darkness, and I got a early preview of Rebel Galaxy Outlaw that I need to do. Both games I've been very excited about, and I can't stop playing Fire Emblem.
The only thing that stopped me from playing Fire Emblem is something else I'll get into after this, which has caused a little wrinkle. But other than that, yeah, it's just last weekend. Saturday, actually, and it might have been Friday too, I don't remember. Either way, I was just chilling playing Fire Emblem all day, because now I'm on chapter 9.
Yeah, so you're just a little bit behind me. This is the rare case where I'm actually ahead of you in a game, but again, literally, I brought it to my dermatologist appointment this week, the Switch. I'm playing this game despite the fact that I have such bad Joy-Con drift that I have to hold the left stick down if I don't want my character, if I don't want things to move up.
You need to send those in. I think we covered on this very show, Josh.
Oh, I have the mailing label. I literally have the mailing label. It's just I've not been able to get over there to do it. I'm also nervous with the fact of how am I going to play more Fire Emblem.
You don't have a Pro Controller?
I have a Pro Controller, but I play handheld mode. So the main times I play the game primarily, I only really play on console mode if I'm in the office, but a lot of my playtime with the game is handheld mode on the couch. Well, Charnel and Roran are watching. They're watching Food Truck Race and the Food Network show. Uh-huh. They watch that, and then Sora sleeps on my lap. He uses this for his nighttime bottle. He sleeps on my lap, and I just play Fire Emblem. So
you act like Charnel actually plays her Switch.
She doesn't. No. Why?
I'm sorry. There's not Joy-Cons attached to her Switch that you could use?
Hers are broken too. Hers are just as bad as mine.
Well, that's why you send one of them in. Still use yours. Get yours back. Then you send hers in.
Well, that would have been the logical thing. I thought of it. My theory was exclusive. God, I was going to send all 6 back at the same time. Thank you very much.
Wait. So you have more than that?
We have 6 Joy-Con.
How do you... God, and all of them are having the same problem.
Every single one of them on the exact same day all popped up with the exact same issue.
Oh, man. Not on whatever this is, but I haven't had that... I haven't had a drift issue yet.
Literally, the console updated back in February. Both of our consoles updated. All of our Joy-Con worked, and then literally the next day they all stopped working. Then there was another update in June, around the time they announced stuff, and suddenly all of them simultaneously got worse, even worse than they were. And
I do have a question. The plural of Joy-Con, is it Joy-Con or Joy-Cons? It is... I take it as Joy-Con, because if you know Per Schneider of IGN, he has the House of Joy-Con, and he has pretty much every single Joy-Con out there.
Fair enough. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure Nintendo did officially remark once that the official name for it is Joy-Con.
It's like Deer and Deer.
Yeah, I think it's essentially that kind of thing, but also whatever. It's whatever it is. So I've just always called it Joy-Con. I've always gone with that mentality. But yeah, so we have 6 because we have her Pokemon console, we have my original blue and red console, and then we bought the edition of Mario Party that came with additional Joy-Con. Or was it I think it was Mario Party. We bought that version because for some reason at launch it was on sale for $5 cheaper than buying Joy-Con.
Okay.
So it was just if I bought so
essentially I got a set of Joy-Cons. Like when they had back in the Wii day, they had the Wiimote Plus bundle with some games. It was near the same damn price or a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, so so this is my console. It's kind of hard to see because the light glare. I'm trying to find out what direction to hit it. But this is what I call the Hanukkah switch.
Oh my god, it's me on there.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Oh, it's me too. Oh, it's never. This is reflective as hell. So it's so I call it the Hanukkah switch because I have my original blue neon Joy-Con, and then I have a yellow one that came with that because I was doing Christmas originally. I had red and green. Because
every single one of them is having the drift issue.
Yeah, so you just sent me Blam. I thought I was gonna buy too many Joy-Con, but they are crazy expensive. They are. I love that
everybody in chat is just calling them Joy-Con, not cons.
Yeah, I mean that's. I think we've started something here, and I used to be a character called the Unboxing Ninja. If you watched old console calibrating videos, Shamrock.
I only know one guy in our group that wears a bandana. He's not here right now, but he usually pops up when something gets competitive.
Yeah, the glorious one is not here at this time, but might pop up in something later this month, perhaps. I don't know.
Maybe.
But yeah, the Joy-Con issue. I gotta send them back. So, anyways, but that's how much I love playing this game in console in a handheld mode because I literally have to hold the stick down to keep it from going up most of the time.
And all of them are that bad?
So all the left ones are that bad. The right ones are not as bad, but you also don't do anything. So the A button and I can never remember how this works. The A button and the Y button on every right one requires 5 or 6 really hard hits to work.
Holy
while
crap.
the left sticks are all pretty much if you the blue one's the worst. The rest of them are better. I don't have to hold down the whole time I'm playing stuff. But they still will act up about every 30 to 45 seconds.
Cool. All right. So that's how much you love Fire Emblem. How much I love Fire Emblem. We're going to test. I am horrible with remembering names. Horrible.
Yeah, that's not your strong suit.
I finally got like the main characters. Byleth?
You got it right.
No, Black Eagles. Edelgard?
Okay.
Petra.
Good old Petra.
Dorothea.
Yep. You named the 3 best.
Girl Bernie. Or
But sorry,
Bernetta.
4 best. Bernie's good.
Ferdinand. Or Federland?
Ferdinand.
Ferdinand. Thank you. Caspar. I do like Caspar. Caspar's a good boy.
Caspar's a good boy, yeah.
yeah.
Begins with an L.
God. I know who it is.
Nappy boy, come on.
Snake-looking face.
A little bit, yeah. Oh, that guy too. So you're missing 2.
I'm missing 2? Nappy
Yeah.
head boy.
So you got Nap Boy and you've got Spooky Vampire.
Oh, Nap boy. Doesn't start with a J, does it?
It's an L.
Damn it.
So you got Vampire, you got Spooky Vampire, which is H, and you've got Nap Boy, which is L. I mean, you did really well. I would honestly give you pretty high points for how far you got into this.
Also got my new little girl, Flynn.
Flane?
Flynn.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, that's as far as I got. So
Linhardt and Hubert.
Damn it.
Linhardt's a hard one for me. Actually, Ferdinand's the one I tend to forget most of the time. Yeah, that's the Black Eagles. I think I talked about this with you privately. I'm at the point that I have everyone. Before I've hit the time skip in the game. That's
I think I'm outright refusing to get everybody at the moment.
I really didn't want to get a guy whose name begins with an S who just wants to pick up women. I can't remember his damn name.
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, if I get him, I'm going to Leroy Jenkinson right in the battle without leveling him.
I sadly have gotten to the point with this game that I can't seem to kill people because I'm playing on the normal difficulty but classic mode.
No, here's the thing. Even if I do feel that thing with my class, like, this is my class. These are my kids. Don't fuck with them.
Yep.
Don't.
These are my children. How dare you? Well, that's what my thing with the game as well. It's why I have difficulty playing anyone else. I brought the Laurens into my main team, Lysithia into my main team, and Ingrid sometimes. But overall, and Ash will sometimes be in there. But in general, it's like I don't want. I want it to be my kids. I don't want to switch any of them out. It's like, oh, sure, they're all level 30 plus, and everyone of them's level 30 plus, and nobody else on the team is above like 25 for the most part. But also, why the fuck would I use them? Nobody's gonna die on me because I now have 12 divine pulses, and if I mean, I literally once I've used the divine pulse in a thing because I accidentally sent the person 5 spaces instead of 6.
And oh yeah. I've done that before. But yeah, I mean, I'm like, as I was protective of him, especially Petra, like, I had someone actually hurt Petra enough that I worried about her to the point I had her retreat. I marched Byleth across the fucking map just to show this guy something and just decimated him.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Does your Byleth at the point that pretty much they are just a crit machine? Every single hit they do, like, is just a crit. It doesn't matter
every single time. If you hit him, he will crit you.
Yeah.
I mean, well, first thing is you won't hit him.
Yeah.
He will dodge you, and then he'll crit you every single time.
It's so absolutely absurd.
You gotta mention a point. Like, I could put him in the middle of the map, just not move him, not attack either, and I'll win. I mean,
that's my way of leveling skills now, because I'll throw a knowledge gem, which is something you can get in one of the I can't remember the exact term of it, but like one of the side story things about specific characters. It begins with an I. I can't. What?
Ingrid.
No, not character names. Like the thing, like the auxiliary battle, the auxiliary battle side quests that are specifically about like a character, like a character story.
Yeah.
Enter something. I can't remember what the hell it's called. Anyways, you get the knowledge gem for that. It raises your skills. I throw it on a character, and I just will have Linhardt warp the character into the dead center of the enemy's army, and then I'll just keep hitting end turn, never sending them into attack.
I never thought about warping somebody into an army.
Yeah, I've done that a couple of times because the warp actually works pretty damn far. And I've mostly done that to level Petra and to level Byleth because they're my two. Petra is an assassin, so she has stealth, which means she's harder to hit. She was borderline impossible to hit before she became an assassin. Now it doesn't happen. Meanwhile, Byleth is just this ridiculous beast of a character, so I just can send either one of them in with zero fear of them happening.
Byleth is pretty much a demigod.
I have done this with Edelgard before.
She is up there too.
She's up there, but I have her as a Wyvern rider, like the first level of Wyvern thing. So if I send her in the wrong spot into an army, she is destroyed.
Yeah, I'm trying to work her there right now. Because I'm still working up her axe because I actually swapped her over to sword for Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And
I never went the Lord route on her.
I did because I fed her.
I went mage route for her.
My mage Dorothea. Holy crap, she just decimates things.
Yeah, I have Dorothea as a. She's almost done with Warlock, about to be turned into her dancer self, and then Hubert is my dark bishop.
That's the
and
thing.
He is death incarnate.
For that choice I need to pick, I may not do Dorothea just because I like her how she is right now. I may do, God, I'm going to say Flynn again, and that's not right.
If I can give you a piece of advice, don't do Flane. I can't tell you why, just don't do Flane.
Okay, that means she's not going to be playable later.
I said the same thing to someone, and they straight up told me, don't do Flane for it. So I'm going to give you the same piece of advice in that regard.
I already picked her and trained her.
Yeah.
I think I have a save I can roll back on. I think I actually smartly did that. We'll see. Report some next week.
Well, to get the dancer thing, I think you only need charisma at like 16 or higher.
Which is almost all my characters.
Exactly. I sent Dorothea in with 34 charisma. Because I trained her up, I gave her special equipment and stuff like that. And I want to say that Manuela's brain exploded when that happened, but no, I mean, that's not how the game works. It doesn't really register.
Well, you can pick Emmanuel to do it for you too, can't you? After you recruit her?
Maybe. I actually didn't think about that.
I think I was actually able to pick her.
I hadn't actually, I don't remember, so.
I'm not, because it's for the students. It's for the kids. Mm-hmm. I'm somewhat role-playing at the same time.
The only time I've ever, by the way, had difficulty in the game is Manuela and Hanneman have one of their own side quest things. Only time, did you do that one?
Yeah, just trying to get to Manuela while trying to keep her alive.
I literally reached the point in that battle where I just had to roll it back so far because I'm like, this is bad.
Yeah, I mean, I hit spots that actually surprised me to the point where I actually worried.
Mm-hmm. And I still do. There's a battle.
You can't get careless. And saying it like it's easy, I mean, we're playing on essentially normal difficulty, which is yes, our characters can die, which is Fire Emblem's already been, but basically, like, just playing. Like, there is harder difficulty. There's just a way to make these games even harder.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things that the harder difficulty of the game does is it allows you... It makes it that you don't have auxiliary battles that cost 0 battle points. They all cost at least 1, so you can't grind out levels the way you can on the normal difficulty. Normal difficulty, again, I got really bored and I just started grinding out levels.
Essentially, I did too.
Which, like, before the time skip, I had Linhardt as an almost mastered bishop. At level 30 plus, like almost all of my main characters were 29 to 36 before the time skip.
If I master all the classes, do you think a Jedi unlocks?
I'm really wondering because I now that I did the challenge of getting all the students and I keep doing my little challenges to make the game fun. Well, it's fun, but like to make the battles a little more interesting. I really want to get Byleth to have every single solitary class in the game. Like, it's to the point now that I have so many activity points during the day. that I don't know what to do with, so I just use them on training him in reason skill. There's no reason to really do that, mind you.
There's no reason to reason, okay.
Because the guy is death incarnate with a sword, but it's like, I guess I'll just give him some magic, why not?
Why not?
I currently have him doing the hero class, but he's I think I've mastered 7 or 8 classes with him, because it literally got to the point that he didn't have enough axe skill to pass the hero test, so I made him sword master. Even though he was a sword master, I still had him use an axe the whole time. It didn't get him enough axe skills to train his hero. Again, he kept failing the certification, so I thought, fuck it, I'll make him a cavalier. Trained him all the way through that in a single battle, pretty much, because I found the battle that the enemies kept respawning. So I just sat him there and I just did shit for a little while, and and then finally after that he came high enough to become a hero.
Okay. So I think what we're trying to say is we really like Fire Emblem's Three Houses.
I cannot believe how much I love this game.
Like, if you would have told me, hey Justin, your game, one of your big game of the year contenders for 2019 is Fire Emblem, I would tell you, I wasn't even going to buy it. I mean, I wasn't. Even day one, I was still iffy about it and just kind of like, let's try it.
I bought this game because the night before it came out, Charnel said to me, hey, isn't that anime Harry Potter game coming out soon? And I'm like, oh yeah, Fire Emblem? Yeah, that's coming out tomorrow. She's like, you should pick that up. I want to play it. She's barely played it at this point because she's been obsessed with Dungeon Keeper 2, as I mentioned earlier. But like, she wants to finish that first. So yeah, but like, I wasn't gonna play it. I figured it was just not going to do anything for me, but yet here we are, and I'm like,
yeah, because
this is right now one of my 3 game of the years.
Yeah, because I mentioned before, like, I always wanted to get the Fire Emblem series, but just never have, because one, I skipped Game Boy Advance, sadly. Didn't have the money at the time. Kid. Didn't get one. I think the first Fire Emblem game I actually owned, but didn't really, like, deeply get into was on the GameCube.
Okay.
It was
like Radiant Dawn or something like that, right?
Yeah, I don't know why. I just never picked them up on the DS or 3DS because I like so jaded on my handhelds that because I know how little of them I usually play. But yeah, this one I did not, especially like I'm usually not in with narrative through static screens, 2 characters just talking.
I think you mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah. And I like this one. Like, it's cool. Like, every single character has so much personality. Mm-hmm. Every single character is incredibly interesting, even if you hate them. And it's like all well done. Even the voice acting is, as far as a game like this goes, is pretty well done as well.
Well, that's my favorite part because previous Fire Emblem, specifically Fates and Awakening, the voice acting, like some stuff had voice acting, but primarily all of those little scenes, all those support scenes, were just every line of dialogue was a like at the start of it, there was just like one little like noise they made, emblematic of what their facial expression was. Like, this is to my knowledge the first fully voice acted one, and even though sometimes if I just read faster than the dialogue, sometimes I'll skip through,
which I do too.
But like for the most part, I listen to it, especially if Dorothea speaking, because I love Allegra Clark with all my heart. For those that don't know, that is the voice of one of my favorite characters in Dragon Age Inquisition, but she's also one of my favorite characters in Mass Effect Andromeda. What is her name? It's the Nakmor, the head, the Krogan head of Andromeda. Anyways, of the station. So anyways, like, so
I know who you're talking about now. God, I can't think of her name either.
I as the words were coming out of my mouth, I knew the names of both of her characters I was thinking of, and then as soon as like I started talking, it was gone. I
might think it's something like plainer than you would think.
It's definitely something like that. Anyways, Shamrock77 said, especially with a free mobile Fire Emblem, why spend money on a Switch version? Ha ha ha. Yeah, that game's not good. I was not a fan. I hate gacha games though. I'll play a lot of them, and then we got the new Shamrock says we got the new Fire Emblem day 1, but I haven't touched it since my boys have been playing it too much. I mean, that was my experience the first night Fire Emblem came out. I got to the point of just to choose my house. And then my wife decided that she wanted to play the game, so I had to watch her do literally everything I had just done 30 minutes earlier, and then play the game ahead of where I'm at, which never happens. Before she said, actually, I don't like the Black Eagles. I'm going to play something else. I'm going to do something else, but I'm too tired. And then that was like, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. She hasn't touched it since. But yeah, no, I love everything about this game. We've talked literally about this for 30 minutes. I keep trying to think of grievances against the game, but there's just like, I just don't really have any right now, because it's just, for right now, this is the closest thing to a perfect game I've experienced, at least for my tastes, in quite some time. Actually, my one and only complaint is it's something against me. In the monastery, I am obsessed on the first day of every month, running and looking at every single solitary, tiny, itty bitty little nook and cranny.
No, I do too, because like I pick up items and crap.
But but the thing is, there hasn't been an item in the dormitories in like 6 months.
Oh yeah, same thing. I have to check it all the way down too.
Yeah, I go down, I look in every single room, I run in every single room.
Yeah,
like that's a mental complaint against myself.
I haven't done it yet, which I'm probably going to do it after this podcast, but I have not looked up what lost item goes to which character yet, even though I've been turning a lot of them in.
Do you just click your whole way down on every person at the end of each?
Some people I do. Some people, like, I finally actually like looked at the roster, look at that's where all their likes and stuff are.
Yep. Yeah, I've done that. I'm usually able, I'd say like 3 out of 5 times I know who an item goes to. My biggest issue is I just sometimes...
Well, that's the same thing, like, usually, because, like, a lot of items, personality-wise, you can actually tell what they go to.
Sure.
Or they actually just mention it as a character. You're like, the fact that stuck with me and I knew exactly someone who they go to,
yep,
it blows my mind. But there's some that are like, oh, man, this goes to a character. Like, you train a lot. Caspar, not this time. Not this time. So stuff like that.
The only one that is 100% always a given is anytime it mentions napping, it's Linhardt. Otherwise, there's some confusing ones. But like my thing with that system is I would also hold on to them if somebody was... Because I'd give it to anyone who wasn't in my house, because obviously I'm trying to build their support level to recruit them. But when they were in my house, it's like, well, their motivation's already maxed out, so I'm not going to give it to them this time because of that. But... then it would reach a case where, like, I was holding on to 3 lost items for Shamir since, like, month 4 or 5. Since pretty much the month after she joined, I've just been holding on to, like, all these items of hers and not giving them to her. So finally I said, you know what, fuck it. Her motivation's always maxed out. I'm just going to give this to her. Fuck it. Who cares?
Yeah, actually just got Shamir on my crew.
She was my first Destruction Incarnate character.
She will be. I imagine I haven't got a chance to use her yet.
She's a sniper. She's a sniper. She hits, and she also, I think, has a special ability in addition to that. She can hit stuff from so far away.
Oh god, it's the same thing with Petra when I give her a bow as assassin. Or now I got Bernie's my sniper at the moment.
Okay. I had Bernie go... because her hidden... I didn't understand how the budding talent hidden skill stuff worked, so I just always like pushed people towards that, so I ended up making her a cavalier. But I still had her use a bow from horseback, and then she became a paladin, and I'm like, well, this just seems completely against what her character personality is, because she's on horseback mounted with heavy armor. Yeah. Well, the heavy armor's not a skill, but you know what I mean? It's called a fucking paladin, but I still was having her use a bow and occasionally a lance, and now was my first master person as a bow knight. And the funniest part is I was using a lance so much that I actually had to train her in bow to get her to become a bow knight.
I don't. Her bow is like maxed out. She's also one of those characters I can send off and she'll be fine.
Yeah,
like,
same.
To the point, like I see something big attack her, I'm like, oh no, Bertie! It's like, oh no, she just did the backflip and shot 2 arrows in his face in defense. Good for you.
Well, that's my thing. She's a bow knight, so what'll happen is she'll have a guy rush her, and I'll panic for seconds. I'm like, oh my god, this guy's gonna do so much damage. This is a heavy duty guy who like nearly took out one of my other people. Hits her, she takes 1 point of damage, and then the critical face appears using a bow. Her whole horse and her do a backflip and fire the bow in midair down at the guy. And I'm like, the animations in this game are so goddamn amazing.
I can't get it. They are. Some are ridiculous. Like, I love the tournaments or the battleground area where you're like rushing them through, and like this is when I first got a Ferdinand on a horse. It's like, oh, it's the lance competition. It's like, oh, he's good with the lance. Put him in. It's just like, oh, he got his horse and everything in here. Of course he does.
Yeah. What's always fascinating is I've had ones where it's like when the tournaments is for reason skill, and I'm like, well, I'll just send Hubert in. He is literally an S level, like an S level reason person.
Yeah.
And I'm like, of course I'll just send him in, and nope, it will not let me use him for some reason. I'm just like, well, that's interesting. There was a few cases of that.
Yeah, I was surprised. I had one pop up for dark magic, and only one I had who had dark magic who would allow to be into competition was Dorothea.
Yep.
So it's like, okay.
Yeah, I ended up doing Dorothea for that one.
And she destroyed him. I'm like, I didn't even look at it. I didn't even like look at the potion or anything. I just kept hitting. What was it, B or A? One of them.
Yeah, as a rule of thumb, just in case it's a critical hit, I will usually use the potion during tournaments if they are 50%, but I usually don't end up using the potions until the semifinal, or right before the final round.
Gotcha. I think we need to beat OK Peace to this one and go ahead and do our Fire Emblem podcast.
I mean, at this point, we actually really should OK Beasts. Yeah, we should follow their example. You're right. And just do... the Fire Emblem show. Okay, see, here's the thing. I literally just thought of all of that. I'm like, we could bring guests on, and oh no. Yeah, we should do a limited series on Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Just how it goes. I mean, look what happened from a Mass Effect podcast, Josh.
What?
Yes.
I mean, Constant Calibrating podcast his was a Mass Effect podcast, so
exactly. That's what
once
I'm saying.
upon a time.
Who knows what it could turn into?
It could turn into nothing. No, anyways, I mean,
that's what shows do.
I like. Shut up.
Rest in peace, Armbar.
I like this idea. We've literally. Oh God, Armbar. Good times. We're 45 minutes though. Like seriously, I think we're 40 minutes into a purely Fire Emblem discussion on a show
I was
where
worried about not having news.
I thought we weren't barely going to talk about Fire Emblem. So yeah, maybe we should just actually cut the Fire Emblem chat and just make a new show.
We probably might, because honestly, I had one line of Fire Emblem, not even that, and what does it say? Fire Emblem, aka Decision Paralysis, the game. Yeah. I'm up to Chapter 9. That's all I wrote in a doc.
I wrote FE3H Chapter 13. So many decisions, so much drama. Holy shit, I love it. That's all the notes we had, and I still managed. I feel to not really spoil this game. I was worried because of where I'm at that I was have to spoil shit. This is why I want to do a Fire Emblem exclusive podcast. Now because I want to be able to spoil it.
Yeah. But speaking of things that did disrupt my Fire Emblem main is...
I want to hear that. I want to hear about this.
I am now a member of the PC VR community with the Valve Index. Here is one of the fancy little hand figure controllers.
Oh, let me see that. I hold to the screen. I can't really see it very well.
I gotta put mine up because I can barely see what's on my cam.
No, you're good. You got it centered.
Okay, there we go. There it is. There you go.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, no, I haven't actually seen it. I have... I was about to say I have my Vive controller, but it's not sitting over there where it usually is. So
you have that monstrous wand of a thing now.
Yeah, that looks cool. That looks closer to the what the Oculus, one of the Oculus ones were. They looked really cool.
Yeah, and now when I pick up an old Vive controller, I'm just like Obi-Wan when he picked up a blaster. I'm like so uncivilized, and I throw it away.
Fuck you.
But no, these are awesome. So by the way, Valve Index out, of course. I'm not going to say if I bought this or not. I did. I know I really wanted to get a VR headset for PC because I enjoy PlayStation VR so much, just VR in general. I'm a believer of VR. I want to further support it, so I was looking at getting a PC headset. I was actually looking heavily towards the Rift, mainly because I didn't want to set up the base stations.
Mm-hmm.
But not all of a sudden it's okay, Valve Index. I'm looking more into it. I'll wait for reviews. I'm like, all right. I like where they're going. I think this is going to be good, and I can make it work for Oculus as well. I mean, it takes a little working around, but you can do it. And yeah, the controllers look like they're pretty much compatible with everything, which they are, not to mention.
My favorite thing is I couldn't remember how much the Index costs, so I decided to just go on Amazon and look up Valve Index. Mm-hmm. And the very first search result is not the Valve Index itself, but it is a Vive trigger finger splint, full hand and wrist brace support adjustable locking straightener to immobilize your wrists so you don't get wrist injuries playing with a Vive.
And yeah, something else.
I don't that too. I don't know how to feel about it.
Okay, well, so to kind of get into it. So what's cool about these controllers are, and this is completely up to the developer actually makes this in their game, is it does track your fingers. Like if I move a finger up, it moves a finger up, and usually it's pretty good about that as long as the game is developed for it. And proof of this, like most games I'm playing right now, it is finicky. Like sometimes I do have my fingers like this, but it doesn't track that my index finger. It thinks my index finger is my middle finger. The one that's pretty flawless and of course shows like the potential of it is Valve's own. I think they call it the Armature Labs, which is Portal theme. It's pretty much a tech demo for the controller. But the cool thing is, like, it shows you kind of like you have a robot hand, but it actually shows how much pressure you're putting on with each finger in the grip and totally, because it detects your pressure as well. Like, it knows how tight you're gripping this thing with each finger and total grip. So pretty much like, yeah, that's a controller. I don't know how it senses it, but there it is. I haven't looked into technology yet. One trigger, as most do. 2 buttons, and that's actually, you know, your big circle pad on the wand? That's what that is right now. Just kind of like a little thumb pad, and then it has the joystick on it.
Oh, cool.
Something like the headset. I'm still going to say PSVR is actually one of the most comfortable VR headsets I ever used, hands down. This is not bad. It's just not as comfortable.
Okay.
Well, especially for somebody with glasses.
That was going to be my question, because the Vive isn't the worst with glasses, but it definitely gets a bit much sometimes.
Yep. Now, as far as like functionality go, I mean, it's just one strap to kind of like tie it to your head. This one like puts the head part back, or the headband on the back. Kind of like interesting mesh jersey-like material which is also foam for the actual like comfort. Even like the face sweat guard or whatever like that, same material which actually could pop off, so you can wash it if you need to.
Okay.
Cool. It has a ton of just dials of crap you could do on here. Built-in mic, built-in ear. These are actually interesting. These are I was kind of worried about, like, because instead of a full headphone, they have speakers instead. And I would think, God, that cannot be good. I'm gonna have nothing but sound bleed through. And actually, using the Vive mic with this, doing tests, it works pretty well. And actually, having this just sitting off your ear and how they do it, it still like incredibly immerses you. We also got the slider for like the eyes to like kind of like fine tune that. And other thing is, like, you can actually tweak how far the screen is from you with this right here, which pretty much, like, you know how you get that, like, blinders in VR? Like, it looks kind of like a circle around the screen you're doing. That adjusts that. Like, the further out it is, the smaller your view would be.
Okay.
Or field of view is. The closer it is, the more field of view you have. Like, and field of view in this headset is awesome. Like, I mean, like, you have stuff in your peripheral vision. Or at least you feel like you do.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I know that on the Vive, it created a good illusion of peripheral vision, but you didn't actually really have the peripheral vision. It's just, but it made you believe it, so...
No, Cindy Blam's in there. It's like saying he's trying to decide between VSVR and Quest. They're both good options. I'm still considering getting a Quest down the line, depending, because I kind of like, well, I'm going to get people in the VR, and the Quest is the best way, as far as I could tell, to get people into VR, just because there is no wires. It is completely self-contained. You put the headset on, you draw your space out, you're not connected to a computer, you're not tethered to anything, and you go. You're probably, the Quest, from what I hear, is an awesome experience. It's not going to be the most high fidelity thing. I think it visual wise, stuff like the performance wise, I think it still does a little better in PSVR. But the biggest thing about like each VR system is kind of like the exclusives on there. You know, that's kind of few and far between. Like, I'm trying to think what's on PS. Well, PSVR got like they just did the guys did London Heist. Blood and Truth, awesome exclusive. They have Iron Man coming out, which I don't know how exclusive it is. I have not looked into that yet, but that game is looking pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But the same thing, like Oculus has exclusives as well, even though for pretty good, awesome exclusives. Like they had the Vader Immortal. They do have like this Marvel team up thing too, which has a ton of characters. It's almost like Ultimate Alliance in first person, but
I'm gonna interrupt you, by the way. The PS4 exclusive is VR only on the PlayStation VR. It says for Iron Man.
Okay, there we go.
So it is, yeah, that is PS VR exclusive.
Like, is Sony funding that? Or I
don't know. So Sandy Badbat has a good question here, but just a comment. PSVR. I've considered the Quest for the same reason Justin has, because it's just an all-in-one unit. But I almost bought a PSVR, much like you, Yosemite, during the sales recently, because Justin's had the unit for a while now. I've literally not tried PSVR, but I want to play Rhombus Aru and I want to play Iron Man. I will, despite having
bring it to you.
You can also just bring it to me, but despite having a Vive for the longest damn time, I still want to get a PSVR. I want to get a Vive back up and running as well, because I've literally have like 5 hours played on that thing.
I would love to. I mean, we were joking about a Fire Emblem podcast, which I think might actually happen. I would love to do like just a straight up VR podcast too, because like I could go on and on about VR.
I need more experience with it, but I would love to do something like that.
Yeah, I would say with PSVR, the worst thing about it, I mean, yeah, it's fidelity wise, like things get blurry further off they are. You definitely get a screen door effect, but the controllers are absolutely hands down the worst. As far as like the functionality of controllers, I mean, it's fine. Simple buttons with the move wands. The problem is the move wands are it seems archaic technology for what they're trying to do right now. It was their attempt at motion controllers. It's just one camera in the move ons. They get blocked very easily. With games with like fine tunement, I mean, Blood and Truth is fine if you have a wide enough area. But if you're like kind of closed off or something blocking, like you'll think you're like, oh, I gotta pick this. Whoa, where's that hand going? Mm-hmm. That happens a lot.
That happens with my Vive sometimes when I used to play it for a couple of games.
The Quest does inside-out tracking. Actually, all the Oculus headsets, except the first one, I think. I know the Rift S does too. Inside-out tracking is pretty much like they do have cameras built into the headset itself that tracks the movement. Along with like accelerometers and stuff in the remote. So it actually does a fairly good job. The best one as far as controller tracking goes is we'll say the Valve produced one. Anything with the base station, which actually I think the Oculus stuff, they do have base stations as well that you can get. But like the Index, the Vive, you set up at least 2 boxes opposite sides. The more you have, the more accurate it'll be. But like I've never lost tracking of my controllers as far as I've experienced so far. The only thing I also got to look into this too. I don't know what the cams on the Vive headset does. Something
on the Index, you mean?
Index, thank you. I got to look into that. Sorry, like I just got to open up. Like cool, even though I know this is the headset I wanted to get. Except they do get this weird like expansion bay that's right here and have just like a small USB port in there, so I don't know what that's going to be used for later.
Senator Babbitt asked a little bit ago, do you think PSVR is headed to the Quest direction or the Index direction? So I'm assuming like if we think so, my interpretation of that, do we think it's going to be like more of an all-in-one kind of easy to go unit as it develops, or do we think they're going to develop in the direction?
It's always going to be tied to the console. Like they have to do it that way.
Yeah, I think it's always going to be tied to the console, and but as far as like the type of thing it is for the next iteration of it, if there's, that's my question: is PlayStation going to iterate on it again?
Like, here's the thing with the Quest and the PlayStation, or tethered VR experiences. I think tethered, the Quest is pretty good because it is self-contained. Like everything just runs right off of there. There are wireless VR headsets that run off of PC stuff. Like there's the Vive Pro. Mm-hmm. But I hear there's a lot of lag. I hear the headsets are heavy as hell.
I've heard they're severely painful on your neck.
Yeah, so that part's not there yet. We have a wireless headset attached to something else that's actually running the games and stuff. So right now, I think tethered is the best experience as far as that part goes. But again, I haven't tried the Quest yet. I just think it's an awesome idea. From everything I'm hearing, it's nothing but good stuff. I
mean, my first VR experience ever was with the Samsung Gear, which came free with my Galaxy S7, I want to say. Mm-hmm. And that was literally you just jab the phone into the thing, smash it on your face, and play it. And I thought that was an amazing fucking thing. And that was just like, I literally was just playing something that just visualized the music, was like the only option in that entire thing. But I was standing in a room watching music around me, and I'm like, okay, this is actually the coolest fucking thing in the world. When I finally put the actual Vive on my head, I was just like, so in all honesty, like if the Oculus Quest is not as high fidelity as the Vive, I already thought the Samsung fucking Gear was amazing. Like, what does it matter at that point? I've never been picky, particularly when it comes to that kind of things either. So,
that's pretty awesome. But the biggest thing about the Index is the controllers that really attracted me. Granted,
that's the best part.
Josh, I mean, even with you could buy just controllers and you'll be good if you can find your base station stuff.
Like, yeah. So I mean the Vive headset was somewhere over here. I don't remember.
Like, as far as I know, like, everything works with everything. The only thing I don't know is if you're, let's say you wanted more base stations. I keep calling base stations. I think they're lighthouses or something.
Lighthouses. I call them base stations too, though.
I don't know if the new lighthouses work with your old ones. In other words, like, if you want, like, 4-point tracking or, like, 4...
I think...
I know the controllers will work with the old ones. Mm-hmm. It's just like, I'm just saying, like, I don't know if they work together.
Yeah, I know the controllers work. I believe the lighthouses, the first generation do not, but the second generation onward do. So I have a first generation, so it wouldn't work.
Okay. Oh, I also forgot to note the other big thing about the NX, like, again, not the most breathtaking headset, but it's definitely, I don't think it's the best quality headset, but it has some things going for it. One of them is the refresh rate. Of course, 90 hertz, 120 general, but also has experimental 144. Which I think is the highest refresh rate for a VR headset at the moment.
Okay.
So if you like them frames, there you go. But let me get into games I was playing. There's two in particular I'll mention. Because, of course, I did the VR thing. Like, I downloaded everything that had a VR experience, and I turned it on for a minute, just like I would do with the graphics card. It's like, oh, that's what it looks like, and turn it back off. It who caught me the most, because how immersive they are, is... I was going to do Blade and Sorcery first, but I'll do that later because I totally went on a trip last night. First one I got was like something my friend has got me into because he loves like flight sims, just like that, is VTOL VR. VTOL being the vertical takeoff. What does it stand for?
Vertical takeoff, something landing.
Something like that. Or maybe vertical landing.
But I was going to say, by the way, I'm looking at the Valve Index site. They are called base stations on there.
Okay, that's where I got base stations from. But
and VTOL is vertical takeoff and landing.
Oh, there we go.
It's because VTOL. Yeah.
So like this is the type of experience I look for. Just like I mentioned how much I love Steel Battalion, and I will play it at every PAX I go to, which I will do at PAX West as well. If the group want to get up with me and do some Steel Battalion, let me know, because it's always there. Anyways, like I like anything that like fully immerses you. Like everything in there does something, especially a cockpit experience. Like right now, my main dream VR game is a Gundam VR game where you actually are the pilot in a cockpit.
That'd be
everything
amazing.
Does something, you know. I think there's like Vox Machina, which I'm going to look into. Is something like that, which is pretty much. I think that's pretty much Steel Battalion, but in VR. But it's kind of like VTOL's like. It's still kind of arcadey. I mean, like control wise, but is sim based as well. But like every single one of your switches does what they're supposed to do in there. And to the fight, like I started this game up. I'm like, I'll just go to free flight. I'll just figure it out. No. No. I couldn't even figure out how to turn on the damn plane. Because I'm like, oh, there's power. Cool. Engines. Cool. It's not doing anything. And like, you to the point, like, they have little red flaps over switch. You have to open the flap first and then you can do the switch. Gotcha. But no, like, you have to start it properly. You have to turn on the main battery, turn on auxiliary power, let that rev up for a good bit. Turn on your engines. When they rev up and then calm back down, then you can turn off the auxiliary power, and then you're kind of good to start flying. But then you got to turn on your heads-up display. Then you got to turn on like your flight navigation or your computers that you have there. You can set each screen for something particular you want. Each screen actually has functionality. Like the map one, you can set nav points on it. You can zoom in, zoom out. Like you have to push like the actual button on the screen to do it. Your throttle's at your left. Which you have to lift up and down to kind of like take off, stuff like that. You also have a brake you can squeeze. This is doing on the first aircraft, by the way. Like the other ones in there are like highly more advanced. They're pretty awesome. But like these control the way they control. You have to do everything properly. And it's just freaking awesome. Like I am planning to stream this soon. I'm just horrible at it right now. It's just the way I can get to the point where I can feel confident enough to do stuff. Also, I need to figure out how to set all this up in OBS and set up some new scenes.
Yeah, I remember watching Blake when he was doing his VR stuff. I don't think he's done it on Mixer, but he used to do it on Twitch, and I remember just the absolute hassle of VR streaming once upon a time. My
biggest issue right now is like I need to figure out how to get chat, which I think there is overlays you can install.
Mm-hmm. There are overlays you can install and different stuff like that. There's ways that you can set a button on the controller that you can hit that you can literally pull up chat like on your wrist essentially. Look at chat, and in most, I think it's supported in majority of games. It might look like shit in some games, but I think it's supported in most things.
Yeah, I even think it's like Shroud. He has it to the point, or one that like he looks up and it's in the sky or on the roof.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of different stuff you can do. It's just setting it up and getting it to work.
Yeah, and that was the one pain thing to do, because PSVR, of course, you don't have that choice. And anytime I'm streaming PSVR, I have to go to the point where I'm like, oh crap, hold on, let me stop and look at chat for a bit. And then I was like, oh crap, let me get back in there, set it up. Well, that was another cool thing I forgot to mention about this. So, like, when this is on your headset, if you need to take a quick peek, like, it just flaps up.
That's good, because with the Vive, you have to, in particular with glasses, it was always
It's a bit hassle with glasses, but it works good enough. Like, it's minor adjustments to get yourself back. Oh god, Yosemite Bland said Zone enters PSVR. God, I wanted to stream that, but holy crap, is that game disorienting in VR? Like, Zone enters, like, first of all, like, I thought it's like, oh, there's just experience. No, the entire game is playable in VR. Problem is, it controls the way it controls without VR. It said, but your view is tied to the cockpit. Like, you are in the, you look up, you see, like, you know, Jededi's head and stuff like that too. Like, when you look down, it feels so off-putting the way it controls. Like, it's like, man, that might be one I can or cannot do. This is so weird. I digress. So Vito's awesome. I'm definitely gonna do some stuff with it. Next one's Blade and Sorcery, which this is the game that, hey man, you want to get into full-on, just straight up some medieval combat? Yes, let's do that in VR. Swords clash, like it, 1-to-1 tracking and stuff we always wanted on the Wii when it came out, like, you know, stuff like that. But like all the weapons have physics. Everything has physics in there actually. So like to the point, like I was messing with it yesterday. Like I was putting my finger on the blade and running it down. You actually hear the like just the sound of that.
That's kind of
like,
sexy, honestly.
Like I hold a sword out, put a dagger on it, and like balance it on its like the hilt guard. Okay. So that's like, that's how much how much stuff it has on it. Physics and stuff like that too. It is really fun. It is really off-putting though. Like I'm still trying to get used to it, and I'm starting to get used to it because they actually do. They're trying to integrate the index script on it, which is sometimes it screws up because I'll kind of make a ball with my fist, and not meaning to, and accidentally grab something on my waist, which is screws everything up. But like on top of just straight up combat, which a ton of different weapons they have. Like I mean, the spears, axes, two-handed weapons. Which the two-handed weapons is weird too, because like it is like that. Like, oh, you control at the bottom, but your hands are still disconnected, so it's kind of weird to swing them. Except the thing I would kind of do is like I lock my finger into the other one. That's kind of how I do it. But they also got like spears and stuff where you can like flip around and crap. I mean, if you totally want to Arya Stark somebody, or more so if you want to Bucky somebody, because he did a hell of a lot better in Civil War. Like, you know, had the knife up, drop it, go back in, and go for a stab. You can do that. Now, what kept me up last night, Josh, I sent you the video. And of course, I was supposed to go to bed, Josh. Mm-hmm. I was supposed to go to bed. I did not go to bed. You can mod, like most things on PC. Sword and Sorcery is actually very open to mods. I strolled on the video. I didn't know what the name of the mod was because the guy doesn't mention it in the video. But I found out it's called The Outer Rim. Okay. What's the Outer Rim, you say? Well, what comes up when you hear the Outer Rim? But if you think it's Star Wars, yes. My God. Lightsabers. The way I always wanted them in VR. So good, Josh. It's so great. Like, you hold it there, you see the, like, and it has, like, all the lightsabers you want. Like, they have the hilts of, you know, like, they had the Mace Windu, Qui-Gon, both of Obi-Wan's. Surprisingly not Anakin's. They do got Darth Vader, though. Okay. That's odd. They even got Yoda's little fucking dinky thing. And it's, from what I'm reading into it, like, they're, as far as, like, all the information you have on lightsabers, the size of them, how long the blades stick out, they're accurate. Oh yeah, they have Kylo Ren's as well, which is freaking awesome. But you sit there like, oh man, it's just a handle, and you push the little middles. Like, yes. You hold another one in your other hand. And you just hear the cracking of them. Like, they had the sound effects and stuff. Like, this mod came a long way from what I'm looking into. They also have Darth Maul's double-bladed saber, except it can't open up like just one side of the saber, which I'm like, well, I mean, that's me nitpicking. But you do have double-sided sabers. You can dual-wield sabers, just like you can dual-wield any weapon in there. So let me ask you this: can I hold the saber and can I flip it around as I'm holding it backwards? Absolutely, like, you do that with every weapon. Like most, this is the other thing about the game. Like, weapons have multiple grab points to the point. Like, when someone slings a club at you or an axe, if you're good enough, you can, or quick enough, or lucky enough too, because sometimes physics go crazy. Like, I can grab their axe handle, hold it, and didn't hit them.
See, that's what these games need. I'm just thinking about the fact of like, so somebody does like a downward swing with an axe for you to be able to grab, and I wish like we have rumble and stuff like that, with controllers, stuff like that. I want a controller that somehow gives me a rumble effect that feels like the slightest hint of pressure of weight is being added, like almost like somebody's like
that's what's missing right now is the weight. There's a ton of different like third party freaking contraptions you get to put your
to simulate the experience.
Yeah, but it's really cool. Now, being Blade and Sorcery, you're like, oh man, there's a couple other things they could add to that. In the game, there's already powers, sorcery part. And this is the basic game. This is not with the Star Wars mod. You already have lightning, it's force lightning. Like, you actually have to hold your hand in a particular way, then kind of do a little squeeze on it with the index controller, and then it just fires out. It's awesome.
God damn, I want to. I hate you so much right now. I want to go. I've literally think about going over the storage locker and just emptying boxes.
You should. There's a slow-mo button. So if you want to slow things down or feel like you're running quick speed, there you go. And you actually have like a magic meter. So like all these cost magic, but you could like just tune that up if you want to. And then like there's telekinesis. So if you're thinking, I really just want to grab that fucking saber with the force. Yeah, you can do that. That's just in the game. Yeah, you do. You're like you kind of like see a tarp circle going in that lets you know that you have it with that's what you're aiming for. And then with the index controller, you just push a little bit on like the hilt right here, and then like it lifts up. You push this trigger in to pull it into you. Another trigger to throw it away. If you hold both of them, it'll start spinning. So yeah, you're so I could sit there and like fight somebody with swords just using telekinesis. But yeah, also I could do the thing too. Like I've done where first of all, Star Wars, your weapon gets knocked out of your hand, get on your lightsaber, pull it in, turn it on, you're good to go. Oh, also this mod also has blasters too, including Han Solo's, which is goddamn a cheat because the game's out really they don't know how to do that.
I almost reached for my DL44 blaster and I forgot that it is in storage right now.
And they also have like a couple of little rifles too, and the lightsabers actually block the bolts. It's hard to do. Here's another thing too with the mod, like and they're still working on this. There's some things you can do will make the game go funky. There are points of the game like where just lightsabers go through things like other lightsabers. So like you'll see the NPC start doing a hit. You think you got a good block on it, and no, it just goes through. So that's one problem with it. But, okay. I mean, overall, it's freaking awesome. But as I mentioned, telekinesis, this thing I did the other time, too. I straight played up Captain America style. Like, I just grabbed a shield, and I was throwing it at people, and then bringing it back to me. And there's a mod for Leviathan next, so I'm about to have fun with that. But,
oh, no.
So, yeah, like, I was, like, first time, like, this isn't going to work. I threw the shield and knocked the dude off balance. I'm like, no. Brought it back. Threw it harder, knocked the guy down, and then I grabbed it, put a hand on the top, and you get violent playing this game.
Well, I remember I played this game on the
Vive. Not as in you'll actually go out and do something because bullshit, but
let's clarify that. That's a bullshit thing. That's not a thing. Been disproven numerous times. Yep. But no, I was saying I was playing. There was this zombie game because of course it's on VR, a zombie game. But there's the one where all the zombies were cardboard cutouts, and I remember I played.
Is that the zombie training simulator? Like, yep, I have that
one. That was my favorite thing to play when I still had my Vive up and running, and because that was my workout every day. Because I'd be sweating by the end of it, but I just loved everything about the guns with that. But there was no real melee in the game, so like the idea of what you're describing right now is making me like bounce in my seat right now. Like, okay, just like so. Are you playing the index? Are you doing like full room thing, or are you just sitting down playing?
Depends what game I'm playing. Most part, I'm doing a whole room thing.
Okay, that's my big issue with VR right now is because I haven't had the Vive set up. Literally, it's not been set up since we did Extra Life 2016. Literally haven't had it set up in 3 years. So I forgot about that. So when I set up this new office, I put my desk in the middle of the room for a specific reason, and now I lost my space to have full room VR.
Yeah, but I mean, even the seating stuff is still good, and most a good bit of the game still have like seating options.
Yeah.
So like I think you could do a static the Swords and Sorcery play.
Okay.
Well, how you move in the game, by the way, too, it doesn't use teleporting; it uses sticks to move around, which can get disorienting, but you get used to it. And what I say, what makes a good VR experience is just, I guess, how intuitive the controls feel. Like, I shouldn't have to wonder what does what. Like, there's a game I actually like playing on PSVR, Gun Club. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a big target range and like a whole incredible attention to detail to each weapon. To the point, like you pull back a slide, you actually see like a bullet get charged into the chamber, stuff like that. Like that kind of detail. And it plays control wise great on PSVR because like it's just one button to click and everything. You gotta click everything on the weapon as well too. Vive is a little, or at least with the index, I can't speak for other controls. I'm still trying to look into changing the controls, or I might have to find a remapping for it. The SFX parts too, because it's like, okay, how do I check the mag? All right, no, how do I mess with? No, I have to look at it, and then I have to put the right joystick to the. That makes no fucking sense. So there's some games that are like that, and those I feel like because like I love Gun Club on PSVR. Right now with the index, with how the weird the controls are, granted, this is something that can be easily fixed. Well, not easily, but can be fixed, patched in. Or I could probably look into it myself if I really want to. It's not as good as an experience. Yeah, it's just, it's a whole lot of things, man. It's a whole new world, you know? A whole new point of view.
World. Two things. You literally were frozen, but audio was still coming through, but you were frozen that entire time. Cool. Visually, so that was fun. If I was making faces, that's cool.
I was so in depth into what I was thinking about that I wasn't even paying attention to.
So our VR show we're gonna do. Are we gonna use the We Are VR? Are we gonna use the VR Troopers theme for that?
I did put We Are VR as for the Valve Index. Yes, I do like VR Troopers. I mean, it was a horrible show.
Oh God, it was the second best of that era of terrible TVs. It's funny. We've never actually.
Hell no, Superhuman Samurai Squad above VR Troopers. Let me tell you, man.
Ooh,
they had a younger Lawrence brother.
We've been spending. we've spent like I think 5 years ago. I said I wanted to do this as a topic, and we never got around to it on Constant Calibrating Podcast.
We get a little action with the Mystic Knights of Trinidad.
That was after my time with that genre. But
bullshit. We were same age.
I know, but I was done with it. I think earlier in life than you were.
Big Bag Beetleborgs freaked me out because Big Blue Jay Leno. I couldn't deal with it.
No, it was too much to deal with. I like the VR talk. I want to do more VR talk, and I agree with you. We should do something with VR. But I got a little mini review of a game I need to get to.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Because we're over an hour into this show.
Yeah, we're not getting into news. I mean, we might. No, we're not.
Well, we might. We might get to news, so why not?
I'm going to go briefly mention it and just cut the show.
Also, there was it's better than last week's news where I insisted that we needed to talk about one specific news topic. Hey, Justin, we need to make sure to talk about this. We need to talk about this. Hey, Justin. And you're like, let's just cut the show. We're not talking about it. Like, Justin, let's talk about it. And then 30 seconds into you doing a little preamble talking about this news topic, Charnel comes in and says, we have a problem. You need to help with the kids.
No, that's going to happen right after you start, like, you introduce the next game. It's like, hold on, here's the review for this. Justin, go with it.
It's a strong possibility that that's going to happen. But like next game, so I got a review code for the Church in the Darkness. It's a game I have been following for, I couldn't even tell you how long. I remember that being listed on Evolve PR's like press releases and stuff like that. I feel like years ago. I feel like I've been seeing it in the Indie Mega Booth at PAX West for years. I sincerely don't remember when I first heard about the game. Despite watching trailers for it and all this other stuff, I never went hands-on at an event. I never got an appointment with it. I never tried it out. I forget exactly why. It just never matched up with my schedule, I think. But so the game is like kind of a top-down isometric kind of thing. You are infiltrating a cult in the 1970s.
That game.
What's up? Yeah, it's that game. So this cult.
I heard about it. I never got like
This was a cult that was in the United States, and then they've moved to South America, hid in the jungle, and you are requested by your sister to rescue your nephew. The way the game works is it randomly changes the motivations of the couple who form the church. It changes what their motivations are, why they're doing the things they are, their personalities, all these different stuffs about them. Every time you play, it changes the map, it changes locations, all this other stuff. It's chapter based, but the chapters are very smooth transitions. So like you start as you're infiltrating, the goal is to find a specific person you're sent to find somewhere on this map. The map doesn't show you where you are. It's literally a map. So it's like, this is where you dropped in. This is where you have to go. Hope you were paying attention to what path you were taking. Your limited path, you're walking through the village. The idea is to sneak through the village, avoiding contact with people. On the low, there's 4 difficult... Santa? There's 4... There's
okay, 4 the planes are on my side.
That was a plane. It literally sounded like Jingle Bells to me.
I mean, it could be.
4 difficulties. The easiest. I've been playing on normal difficulty. I played about like an hour and a half of it. But the normal difficulty, honestly, is actually too hard for me because I'm still learning the mechanics of the game. Also, I was playing it in handheld mode, and as we discussed, my Joy-Con are really broken, which makes this kind of game very fucking difficult.
Yeah, I actually never thought about sitting one Joy-Con and holding on to the other. Like 2 other pairs you have.
Fuck off. It took Nintendo over a week and a half to get back to me with the thing.
You tell them to expedite it. They will one day do it. You just gotta...
Oh, tell who?
Nintendo. Mr. Nintendo.
There's no person to talk to.
Get Doug Bowser on the phone.
Get Doug Bowser. So yeah, anyways, so it's been a little bit of a challenge to play it in handheld mode because of that ridiculousness I'm dealing with. But yeah, so exploring. You explore. You're trying to find things, and then it literally like kicks into chapter 2 if you make contact with people and get into a fight. Or in my case, so the game is you can stealth sneak up on someone and knock them out, and then you can like hide them in places because it's all stealth based. I managed to mistime my stealth thing and got punched in the. I got punched backwards, and one thing I don't like is there's no melee. So once you're discovered, you better have a gun.
Yeah.
Unless there is a melee and I can't figure out how to do it. That is entirely possible, but I looked at the controls, can't figure it out. So like I'm being shoved, and because I'm being shoved, I can't pull out my gun, and I too close to use it anyways. So I was having it was a little clunky for me in that regard. But so I got shot and immediately jumped to chapter 3, and I am in a cage and I'm being yelled at by the male preacher. And I go to escape and I mistime my escape and I get shot again. I end up in a different cage, this time in the water. And this time the female preacher's like, I've had enough of you. No dialogue, nothing, just shoots me in the head while I'm in the cage, and the game it restarts. It gives me the option, do you want to restart with all of the personalities and stuff being the same as last time, but with the map being different, or do you want a complete fresh start? So, it gives you the option of either way. Okay. So I'm enjoying the game so far. I haven't made it particularly far. I'm going to try it in console mode probably tonight. My one issue with the game is, again, this was handheld mode. When I loaded up the game, it was 6.5 minutes from loading the game till I actually was able to literally till the main menu loaded. Not the game itself, the main menu.
Holy crap.
I don't know if that was handheld mode, if there's something wrong with my Switch. That just felt like a long-ass time.
That does sound like a lot. Granted, we have been very spoiled as far as loading times go, because people are like, it takes 40 seconds to load. I'm like, man, back on the PlayStation, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, back in the olden times, I mean, I remember Final Fantasy VIII. The first time I played it, turned out I had a busted disc for the game, so that was the problem. But it took 45 minutes for the game to load up for me, and I didn't think much of it, in all honesty.
Did you just sit there for 45 minutes like, can't wait?
I may have started watching the episode of 90210, in all honesty.
Okay, that's fair.
But that's a possibility, and I just kept switching back and forth. Yeah, no, I was a patient, really stupid kid. So, or in this case,
I am too, as in that's, I guess, also my best quality according to Jean Saint-Onge Miller.
Jeez, you know,
That's the only thing she knows me for.
Yes. Your patience.
She also said I'm the shit to someone highly established. Anyways.
Good little tangent there. So anyways, the game is enjoyable. I'll talk about it more next week. My net plan next week is I'll talk more about Church in the Darkness, and I'll talk more about we'll talk it all about Rebel Galaxy Outlaw. I had planned to play that for this week's show.
I want to play so bad.
It just honestly was just stressing me out.
Yeah.
But so
I hear you. But I guess we'll get to some news things. And one thing I don't have on the docket, but I want to mention, there may not be a show next week. Why? Because, oh man, freaking No Man's Sky Beyond, August the 13th, I think. No, 14th.
14th. It's literally on the dock.
Is it on the dock?
I added it to the dock.
You lie.
I don't. I'm literally looking at it.
Stuff below the first page. Oh, that's how this works.
Yeah, it's funny when I don't know if you understand. This might be new to you, but with Word and Google Docs, in those kind of things, if you keep typing on one page, it'll offset to the next page automatically.
What a world we live in!
What a world! What a world! But yeah, No Man's Sky Beyond, August 14th.
Justin, as you know him, will not be around anymore. He will be in that world and only in that world. I am planning to buy my adult diapers and IVs. I'm getting ready for this thing, man.
I've heard from people like, for instance, like Rebecca Valentine, a buddy of ours. She was talking about on Twitter how she didn't like No Man's Sky, like the actual game, but she played it in VR and thought it was like this I don't remember the exact wording, but essentially there was some transcendent experience. That's what I keep hearing. I want to get my Vive out before No Man's Sky because I do love No Man's Sky. I think it's a fucking great game. I thought it was a great game when it first came out. I thought it's a phenomenal game since the updates, but this whole Beyond thing and adding the VR stuff is just...
Which, by the way, somebody blame in chat. I mean... We'll definitely get at like a couple things they're adding. Is one is actually going to be mass multiplayer.
Yep, the online component, the true online component.
I'm really curious how that's going to work out. And the one that there's a bunch of other stuff they're doing too, but the one that has everybody going is they're adding full VR support.
Yeah, it's VR support, it's multiplayer, and then there's a third thing that's a mystery that they're not talking about. The third thing is
VR stuff, it's like everybody says it's just a completely... Well, first of all, when the first update came out, it's like, this is a completely different game. Now the VR support's out, like, this is a completely different game. I have a feeling I'm going to get lost. Like, this is going to be it. I might be a strictly No Man's Sky streaming channel, because that's just going to be my life from now on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, understandably so.
The funny part is, I bought No Man's Sky for PSVR because I thought that's how I was going to do it. Not knowing I was going to have an index before it came out.
Timing is everything. It's beautiful. I mean, we've talked about this story in the Constant Calibrating podcast long ago, but I bought No Man's Sky back on for the PlayStation 4, and then with all the controversy around it, I was curious how the return function worked. Like what the prompt is, and it turned out you literally just hit a button and it returned, and I felt so fucking bad because I actually loved the game.
Yeah,
that they gave me because it returned, but it stayed on my console. I still have it on my PS4. That I immediately went and bought it on PC. Because I felt bad because I felt like I was stealing money from a company who I actually enjoyed their product. Even if it wasn't what was quote unquote promised, I still enjoyed it, and I'd already had 20 hours sunk into it.
Yeah, they have done so much. Like I do not, even though like it came out, it fumbled really hard. It fell flat on its face coming out because it just overpromised, overhyped. Not 100%, well, maybe 90%.
I wouldn't say it's entirely Hello Games or Sean Murray's fault. I still attest to it. It's the cult of personality's fault that it gained a life of its own, and people started believing that there was going to be stuff in the game.
Sony put this thing on a pedestal, and they kept putting Sean Murray out there when he's not PR. He's someone who just wants to make this amazing game, and he has all these visions that all the stuff he said. He probably did intend to have there day one. All that stuff probably intend to have there day one. But of course, like, I mean, they had the flood happen that wiped out most of their stuff.
Yep.
And then, like, it's just like put him on stage where he's spouting out stuff, which might have been ideas that he didn't mean to say, but super excited because they probably were working on it.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't that, like multiplayer.
They clearly were working on it because it's everything that was promised is pretty much now going to be in the game as of August 14th. It seems like just about everything. I can't really remember much else.
Because right now, I mean, you can already do like 4-player co-op, like invite 4 players into the world and y'all just travel around together. Which actually, it just the only thing that does as far as running is it limited? No, it literally just you spawn in somebody's game and y'all start in that galaxy and you do whatever the hell you want from there. Like if someone just takes off and starts going, they take off and start going. But you can at least keep track of them where they go on the map. So if you do want to catch up, you can. But yeah, I mean, they kept their head down. They did it. Granted, Sean Murray thinks like, oh man, this is the best way for every studio to do it. Not true. Because like someone like EA Anthem, because I know you that he's like the best thing to do is just put their head down and work on something to hit out. It's like can't quite do that on a AAA level in or anything where you have stockholders. And not investors, but stockholders. You got to keep them happy.
Stockholders, investors,
yeah. You got to have updates. You got to show this is still being worked on. You got to keep people confident. You can't just put your head down and keep going. So it's not an option for everybody. Anyways,
just the fact that Hello Games has continued to release content for No Man's Sky for free is
I would pay for each update, but the fact that they haven't is.
Well, the thing is, they're literally doing, and like the level of updates, we're talking about the same thing Rockstar does with GTA Online. The difference is Rockstar is making hand over fist amounts of money. With
the shark cards and stuff, yeah.
With the shark cards, GTA 5 almost never itself really goes on sale. It very rarely does. So people are still buying the actual base game. People are still buying shark cards. How everyone in the world doesn't own GTA 5 blows my mind. But like that's the thing. And also they are a Rockstar level company. Hello Games is still an indie team for all intents and purposes. They have a major title, but they are an indie team for all intents and purposes. Unless they're not bought by anyone, right? I didn't miss something. They are still an independent team. And yeah, they somehow are. And their game also, you have to remember, No Man's Sky went on a steep sale at launch, and also they returned a massive amount of copies of the game, and returned it not in a way. Again, they returned it in a way that people got to keep their game. So it's not like people returned it, lost their copies, and then the game's good now. I'm going to rebuy it. No, they still owned it. So like. It's just kind of it's sincerely like a Keanu Reeves "You're breathtaking" thing for me almost. Just they're still doing this. I would really love to look into their finances.
Yeah, I really would too because I don't know how they're maintaining.
I think I need to hit up Mike Futter of Game Daily Dubbies and stuff like that, and hit him up and ask him what's the background on Hello Games? How the hell are they doing this? Am I missing something?
What front do they have to keep this going?
Yeah, like what is going on here? Like, is there some stockholder, some investor I'm not aware of that I'm not seeing from my perspective, or something of that? How are they actually able to keep doing this?
Yeah.
Because it blows my mind. But yeah,
did Chris Roberts give him some money because they're space buds? Who knows? They didn't.
No.
But
all I know is I'm very excited. I'm somewhat excited about the multiplayer, but I'm very excited about the VR support for No Man's Sky, because that game's already an immersive. Playing that on PS4, sitting with my setup about 8-ish feet away on the couch, I still thought it was one of the most immersive video game experiences of my entire life.
Yeah. Now, you're saying I mentioned like the Outer Wilds, giving the vibes to play No Man's Sky. By the way, Outer Wilds VR, that game is just transformative in itself and experience. But God, Josh, you still need to play it. But Outer Wilds is more of a tailored experience. It's not. What's that word I hate? But it works in No Man's Sky.
Okay.
Procedurally generated. It's not procedurally generated. Like it is a tailored experience. There is a story to latch on there and to aim for. No Man's Sky kind of does have a story you can follow if you want, but it's mostly like, here's space. Go at it, man. But as far as like flying out of planets, laying onto planets, never gets old. And even now, never. I just love doing that. Like, it doesn't matter how many times I play that game, how long I play that game. I just always just an awesome experience every single time it happens. But yeah, I mean, it's worth looking into. They've done a really good job on it. It's good. It's great. Going on to the next thing though, because I will tangent on everything.
Yeah, I mean, this was going to be, I think, one of our bigger news things, but we like our last little news thing is Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft are now requiring loot box odds disclosure. Just thought I would throw that out here. It's an article posted by Brendan Sinclair over on GameIndustry.biz. Essentially, let's see. So it's now being required. Let's see. The ESA says platform holders will roll out a new policy that would apply to new games and updates that add loot box features. So any pre-existing games will not be affected, but any new games or any pre-existing games that add a loot box feature that didn't have it before, odds are now required to be disclosed, which just in general I think is a good thing.
No, that's a great thing. It should be there for any games that are trying to microtransaction. Also, will kind of get them ahead of the...
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know your odds going into it. You know what's going to happen. You know how likely it is. You know what you're getting into.
Yeah, let's see. The ESA provided more details on the loot box disclosures, saying the platform holders are targeting to implement them in 2020. The trade group released a list of its members' companies that have pledged to release loot box disclosure odds on all new games by the end of 2020. This list includes Activision Blizzard, Bandai Namco Entertainment, Bethesda, Bungie, Electronic Arts, Microsoft, Nintendo, Sony Interactive Entertainment, Take-Two Interactive, Ubisoft, Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment, and Wizards of the Coast. And then there's just a lot of companies, some notably ESA members, that have not made any such commitment at this time.
Isn't it pretty awesome though that we're actually seeing it seems like the game industry more just kind of like how the game industry in all aspects, like even from games media, how they're all kind of meshing together and cool to work together now to try to, promote good stuff, get the word out there. But it's like seeing like Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft just hand in hand starting to go at stuff like this. Like same thing with the tariffs, they all stood together for that. They're doing it for this. They're more willing to work together. You're starting to see stuff from the platforms that you would never think you'll see on a different platform go there.
Well, I mean, we're officially entering the age where it's not about platform wars and stuff like that. It's specifically about what the betterment of the game industry, because we've reached a point, I think, in our culture where the game industry is now just so constantly under attack from the stupidity of our government.
Yeah.
The industry is so constantly under attack for the dumbest of reasons that I think a lot of the companies have come together with the realization that, yeah, we are competitors, but ultimately also we work together. If we don't fight this together, we're done.
Yeah, we have to set the positive examples. We have to shape this industry to show, we're serious. We got to not serious is the word I was looking for, but to pretty much show this is a mature industry. This is not just for kids. We hold standards, which is kind of seeing like game industry kind of has it. And some places don't. But some people might say oh, this has already been done before in certain countries. Yes, but this is your system, your consoles, where you play games. Saying it has to be this way now. It's not a choice. So it's an awesome thing. It's something that needs to be done.
As a 70 Bland said chat, I like it. If you're spending money, you should know the chances and understand what you're paying for. That's what I've always said about loot boxes. I don't particularly care that much about loot boxes or not. There's some games I've considered buying them. I haven't. I don't care if loot boxes are in a game. I just want there to be at least people to know what they're getting themselves into at all times. That being said, listing the odds isn't going to stop anyone from gambling or not. As a person, I literally I've played stuff where I've bought stuff where it's like, oh cool, there's 1,000,000 to 1 odds, kind of thing. I'll still do it, but the transparency of it, at least also just honestly from a business perspective, just covers their asses.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I think that kind of covers it for news. I mean, real quick, if Brawlhalla, if this is the Hellboy Adventure Time, Rayman wasn't weird enough for you, now WWE superstars are joining the roster. So if you want to rock bottom Finn, go for it. Except I don't think you're rock bottom people.
Probably not. But The Rock, Becky Lynch,
Austin Creed. I'm sorry, Xavier Woods.
Xavier Woods and John Cena.
Yeah. That's happening. And people are wondering, why aren't you talking about Ninja Movement Mixer? Why aren't you talking about
what was the Ninja Movement Mixer?
No, just mention it real quick. If you're wondering where I'm not covered this week on the catch-alls, because on Constantly Calibrating, with Hunter Bond, we actually covered that.
Yeah, we did a whole large section of the episode on the Calibrating podcast.
For Ninja and the ESA League, we talked about both on there. So if you want our thoughts there, check out that week's episode. Should be hitting some podcast services. And you can also check out our previous archive footage if you want to on Mixer here.
Yep, absolutely. That stuff. For the time being, we're still keeping all of our VODs up on Mixer. At some point, we'll probably start taking VODs down, but that's going to be once the edits become more quicker and more guaranteed. I mean, the catch-all's been on time every week, except last week it was slightly delayed, but it's been every week, but Constant Calibrating's been running behind a little bit. So once everything is back on a proper track, so sometime probably after PAX West, I think we're going to start deleting VODs just to make sure that we get the listens and views on iTunes and stuff like that. But for the time being, you can find all the VODs on Mixer for 2 weeks.
But yeah, that was all for this week. Josh, I hope you had a great episode, man. I hope you enjoyed this.
I say this sincerely with all my heart, Justin. This is like my favorite day of the week. I love doing Constant Calibrating podcasts, but this is my favorite thing we do currently.
I love talking about video games, man. I like it.
I like just talking. I still remember when you were playing Far Cry 5 and you pitched this show to me while we were playing. That you wanted to do just like the two of us talking games kind of show. Man. And it literally was this moment where I just sat there and I was just like, why don't we have a show like that?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be news focused. It's mostly just, again, I will fine tune the intro one day, but it's just our experiences and sharing our experiences is what I loved when I was at GameStop.
Yeah,
at the time, like, started off as a little GA, not the best job in the world, but I mean, y'all heard this story before. Hopefully, if not, here it is, real quick. Well, I love talking about video games. That's it. That's why I really enjoyed that job. Yeah, like I love sharing my experience. I don't have a water cooler. Well, I have a water cooler at work, but no one there plays games, so this is my water cooler.
No, I mean, that's kind of like this experience is. And, thank you to everyone who comes and watches this show, because this is, I said it last week, it's one of my favorite parts of the week. I think this show gets better every time we do it. I think Justin gets better as a host every time we do this. And like last week, I thought was one of my favorite podcasts we've done. This week was one of my favorite podcasts. I just have a blast. And stay tuned for our VR shows and Fire Emblem exclusive show, which we are going to probably talk about, because I think both are really good ideas now.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We're just time. We need time and energy and to be young men again. But to completely put all that improvement and what a quality show we have here, I'm going to leave you with this. Razzle dazzle wub wub till we catch you next time. It's been a genuine pleasure. And it's just the outro. Whatever. Take care.